Welcome back to the Red Chaos 1 channel, friends. The home of web novels on YouTube, and I am back with another web novel review, which you must listen to because I am someone with a platform on the internet, and that makes me an expert who must never ever be questioned. Now, before we go on, please remember to leave a like, to hit that subscribe button, and to ring that bell icon if you want to see more videos like this, which cover web novel content. And also, my pipe dream before this year ends is to reach 100 subscribers before 2022, and I would be very grateful if you could subscribe. I know it's a pipe dream, like I said, but I'd really like to just hit 100 subscribers. But I'm still grateful for my subscribers, and if you're watching this video, this year has been good for me. I went from starting with 9 subscribers to 50, and I'm very grateful for that. So yeah. Also, I am a web novelist as well, so the link to my book, Phantom Drig, which is an action high fantasy story with sci-fi elements, can be found in the description below, the link to it and I have a Discord in which we can talk about general web novel content, my book, your books that you like to read, even web novel platforms, and the link to that Discord is also in the description below. My Discord and my book can be found there, and also the book that we will be reviewing today will also be found. As a matter of fact, it will be the first thing that you'll be linked to, and if you're interested, you can check out the book, and you can come back and talk to me on this channel as a comment on this video, even on my Discord. You can tell me what you thought about this book, and I can engage with you, the audience. So, the story that we're checking out today is Herbs and Lotions, The Busy Life of AlfraedLogick, a webnovel.com web novel that has apparently been recently contracted. So, a round of applause to the author, PWS. So, as is standard procedure, we have to read the synopsis in order for us to properly understand the story, because my rambling reviews and thoughts about the books don't exactly give you a clear view of a 94 chapter long web novel. So, in a world where magic lives and mysterious civilization found, AlfraedLogick opens Herbs and Lotions, a shop selling various medicines, potions, and lotions. Under guidance of a mysterious master, the young man becomes an adept healer who possesses abnormal strength and stamina, fluence in ancient languages, and willingness to go the extra mile. With these abilities, he promises to make the shop the best in the world and live the lifestyle of his dream. In his endeavor to promote his products to the world and earn extra income, he will unexpectedly have encounters with heroes, kings, elder dragons, devil lords, demigods, and many more. Some become trusted friends, some bitter enemies, and one of them is the love of his life. This is the story of AlfraedLogick's busy life. So that synopsis was a bit of a mouthful, but I know I haven't said it in a while, but like I've said in previous videos, synopsis are a really important thing. They set your audience up to what they must receive, and they do a good job in telling your story. This synopsis is the right type of synopsis that you should go for as a writer, because it's detailed enough that it gives away the premise of the story, but it doesn't become too vague that you can't understand what the story is. So now, from this synopsis, you can tell that this story isn't your typical swashbuckling adventure of your typical young hero in a fantasy quest. It's rather a story about a character who is running a business, and your typical fantasy story wouldn't be the main attraction. It's your potion seller guy. It's the guy who you buy your equipment from, in this case, your potions, your herbs, your lotions, so that and that. So it's not your typical fantasy story, and maybe this might turn off some people. And if you're looking for a fantasy story that isn't your typical swashbuckling hero, this has the premise that might attract you. Now, before you leave, because you want yourself some good action. Action wise, the story is pretty decent. In some stories, authors struggle to give a fight the right type of descriptions, either making it too clunky or too brief and vague for the audience. This story has a decent amount of action. Like the first two chapters are a single action scene, and it's an awesome one. There's a lady fighting a literal dragon. So yeah, if you're interested in action scenes, this story has great action scenes. It isn't just characters, going through trade or talking. You have some decent action scenes to go with your fantasies, your story. It's not like, because I know you're probably expecting, oh, it doesn't go with your typical fantasy story thing. So obviously, the things that might attract you to a fantasy story, like seeing people go up against these unique monsters, isn't there. It's there, but also it's not your typical fantasy story. So it's unique, but it still has some of that great action. Now, if you're a big fan of high fantasy stories in which magic, heroes, and dragons are a big part of life, then I'm sure you will like this one. Though fans of low fantasy stories should give this a chance. By what I mean, high fantasy with dragons and stuff, this isn't your world where magic is a low thing, or where it's dying, or where it's recently reawakening. Like, this is your world in which magic is a big thing, and I very much like that. Like, I'm gonna make a video in which I talk about fantasy things that I dislike. One fantasy thing that I very much like is this world with magic in it, with wonder, with whimsy. Look, I just like that. So if you're looking for such a story, I recommend this one for you. Now, obviously the story can be great, but if it's not written well enough, people are gonna waste their time and they're not gonna like it. So off the bat, this story is extremely well written. Not even from an editing standpoint, because remember, I will always wax poetically about well edited. Because as a web novelist, I can tell you, editing is hard. And I have read enough stories which have enough editing errors to make an English teacher suffer a brain aneurysm. I mean, the same thing happened to my teacher when I showed her the early beta drafts of my story. But enough with my rambling. It is also well written in the sense that it is well put together in terms of prose. The sentences are like poetry. They rhyme. Like, the prose in this story are well written. And if you're really into that style of great flowing prose, not the simple, hard hitting, not the simple stuff, you're gonna like this book. So I'd recommend it for that if you're really a fan of seeing a wordsmith in action. And yeah, this is all I had to say for this book. Like, I very much enjoyed it, and yeah, I very much enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the high fantasy aspect. I like the fact that it's not your typical story, and the action is good and decent. And yeah, like I said before, if you can check it out, it's in the description below. You can link to it, read the book, and then you can come back to me and tell me what you thought. If you had any criticisms that you thought of, or if anything I've said was wrong, and we can discuss it on my Discord or even here in the comment section. I'd very much like to hear from you. This has been Red Chaos 1, signing off.